We have won, dude. What's up, guys? Welcome to Superwise. I'm John, and this is just terrific news for the day. The canonicity of Daredevil has been talked to death about, and personally, I just accepted that it was gonna be a soft reboot. And while that stuff is still very much at play with like the new retcon of Echo, the comments and the footage that we have gotten in the past few days, it has confirmed that the show is largely, or at least still mostly canon. So let's first talk about what Brad Winderbaum has said about this show's canon. Because besides Kevin Feige, he's kind of one of the most important people working at Marvel Studios, because he is the head of the TV and animation division of Disney Plus for the MCU. So unless he says something that Kevin Feige doesn't agree with and he'll come out and say, hey, that's not true, what Brad Winderbaum says goes. So here's what he had to say about this situation.
Now, I have a question about Daredevil. Is everything that happened on the Netflix series a part of the sacred timeline, or is it not?
So I can say that we've been up until this point, we've been a little bit cagey about what's sacred timeline, what's not sacred timeline. That was born of, frankly, a period at the studio where we were like, we have to stick the landing with Avengers. Sure. You know, it was another part of the company developing the Netflix stuff. We were aware of what they were doing. They were aware of what we were doing, but it was a lot. It was a lot to balance anyway. But now that, you know, some time has passed, now that we see how well integrated the stories are, I think that I personally, Brad Winderbaum, would be confident in saying it is part of the sacred time.
Well, Brad, amazing, man.
What he had to say was very interesting, and it makes total sense because you don't want someone outside of the MCU to make a show, claim it is MCU, turns out to be garbage, and now you have to conform and say, well, I guess it's canon, so let's bring it in. I very much understand how selective they were back in the day, because Marvel Studios used to be, you know, cream of the crop. They used to be the best of the best, and you had to be very careful about the quality, and if something tarnished that, then it would be a problem. I also understand how Kevin Feige wanted his hand in making these things. He didn't want someone else's property. He wanted ownership in his universe, but now that things are being loosened a bit, and of course with the critical and fan acclaim for the show, Feige's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So because of all that, with all this time that's passed, Feige, Brad Winderbaum, everybody at Marvel Studios is like, you know what, it's time. He's a part of the sacred timeline. Let's expand on this. Let's give our Marvel Studios flair to something that's already worked. And I think that's fantastic because we're getting the best of both worlds. We're getting a soft reboot where things that didn't work in the Netflix show, you can improve upon them. We have a Marvel Studios big budget so he can be more acrobatic, but we're also keeping what worked, which is the complexity and the maturity. Like, Kevin Feige didn't have to bring back Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio. He could have easily recast and told a new story, but he brought him back, and I'll just be eternally grateful for that, really. So in addition to Brad's comments, we have this new TV spot that released today that literally shows footage from the Netflix Daredevil show. They're basically saying, yep, this happened, we're connecting this to the modern MCU, and that's pretty incredible, man. This is definitely a time to celebrate, because think about this journey, man. Think about where we've been to where we are now, from Charlie Cox is never returning as Daredevil to, okay, he's returning, but it's gonna be a reboot. Oh, he's returning, but it's not gonna be mature. Seriously, think about where we were like 5 years ago. It's been a journey, and we got Echo in like 5 days. I still haven't seen that fight scene between the two of them because I'm holding out. I want to see the full thing, and from what we hear, it's peak. It's great. So yeah, it's definitely a time to celebrate, y'all. Tell me in the comments down below, what do you think about this show being basically confirmed canon? Please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. That'll be all for me. Remember my catchphrase, guys. Stay super wise.